If you want to lose weight, I'm going to take you through my story and how I did it. And I feel like these kinds of videos, not just constructive, but sharing my story specifically is so powerful because I watched these kind of videos when I was in your position and they inspired me so much because they made me realize like, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's literally the case here. Like, I did it, so there's absolutely no reason why you can't too, because we're not that different. So this is how it happened. Growing up, I was always a very thin girl, like very skinny, and I never had to think about it because growing up, I was a dancer. And so I would be dancing like 3 hours a day and like sweating my ass off and like not even thinking about the fact that I'm doing exercise, but just thinking of how much I love to dance. And that was literally it. And then I would go to school, eat whatever they gave me in the cafeteria, and then I would go home and eat whatever my mom made me for dinner. So I never had to think about exercise or food. Like I just hadn't had to think about it. But I did have moments in where I would have the freedom to like have, for example, a movie night with my friend at my house and like get a bunch of snacks. And I would definitely have no self-control when it came to eating food that was at my disposal, that was like food that I didn't normally have access to, like sweets and junk food. But it wasn't a problem because that didn't happen very often. But then I ended up going to college and everything changed. I ended up going like miles and miles, like thousands of miles away from home. And all of a sudden now I had to buy my own food and think about what I was eating. And I wasn't part of like a dance team or anything like that. So I didn't have like a fitness regime that I was following. I got to college and I actually did end up joining a club that was it was a little bit dance and exercise, but it was only for the fall season. So I would join that and I would do that throughout the week. And that would be my form of exercise, but it wasn't something that I was like thinking like, okay, I have to exercise. And so this is what I'm gonna do. And at the time I was going to a commuter school. So like all that I could eat was like whatever was on campus. And so I would eat like every single day, like a rice bowl with like spring rolls or a pizza. I remember like those were like the two things. And like being health conscious or eating healthy foods is something that literally never crossed my mind because I never had to think about it. I could eat whatever I wanted and my body would stay the same. It was a big shock for me. And especially I had no idea how to cook. So once I had to like buy groceries and I like moved closer to my college, I had to buy groceries and like make food. And I literally did not know what to make. I would like make mac and cheese and I don't know what else. I realized that throughout that time, I had gained a lot of weight. And I don't know how much because I literally never measured myself. But it wasn't until my boyfriend at the time pointed out that I had gained weight. And I was like, what? Really? And first of all, that's not okay. That's not the vibe. We're not with him anymore. But he literally pointed out to me that I had gained weight, and that's when I became conscious of it. And I was like, oh, I guess I have. And then I had to buy a bathing suit to go on a vacation to Hawaii. And then I saw my body in a bikini for the first time in a long time. And I also realized, I was like, my body looks different than it used to. And I literally did not even realize that. And so I was like, okay, I have to get into the gym. This was my first attempt at the gym, but I really had no idea what I was doing. This was like in 2018 or something. And this was before like the fitness influencers came about, like the young female fitness influencers. And so I really didn't know what I was doing. So I went into the gym. I like bought this app that had like a program for you, but I probably went like twice. And that's it. And I think the reason that it failed was because I didn't have like a clear goal in mind. And I didn't plan the gym into my life. Like it was like a thing that was so out of the way and like an inconvenience at the time that I just didn't make it happen. And so then I moved to Salt Lake City and I went through like an experience that made me really sad, and I got depressed and I coped with food, and I would eat junk food. I would literally buy fast food for dinner every single day. Like whatever was near my house, I would get either Wendy's or Burger King. That was my dinner. And I would go to the grocery store and I would buy like these frosted sugar cookies and literally eat a whole pack of 10, like this big, for dinner. And that was my life because I was never like properly educated on fitness and nutrition, and I literally just didn't know how it affected me and my health until my body started to look different. And at work, all I would eat was whatever everybody else was having, which was like an unhealthy lunch. And for breakfast, I ate the chips from my work because we had snacks and like cookies and junk food. That was what I ate. And so quickly I started to gain a lot of weight, and I realized, and I was like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like, and I gained so much weight to the point where like, and it wasn't even that much in hindsight, but for me, being a person who's so used to being like stick thin, like under 110 pounds, basically at all times, it was a big shift for me. If I had to guess how much I weighed, I think I weighed myself one time when it wasn't like at the peak unhealthiest. I was probably like, I was 150 pounds, but I'm guessing that my highest weight was probably like 160, and I'm 5'3". So for a 5'3" body, that is a lot. Well, actually, let me just say, please don't compare like your weights to mine, because our bodies, our compositions are different. So you can be the same weight that I was and be super healthy because your body composition is just different. You might be a different height and you have more muscle mass. Like it literally varies. So please get the numbers out of your head. Yeah, I realized that I was feeling uncomfortable in my body, like, and my energy shifted. Like I became a different person. Like I became a person who no longer wanted to be like in photos. I never wanted to take videos or photos of myself. Like I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to go out. Like, and that is the worst way that it can affect you. Like the point of getting healthy and losing weight in the end is not even for how you look. It's for the person that you become because of it. And in my case, I became someone who was insecure and depressed and not on the right track for life. Like I literally just wasn't myself. So I realized something had to change. So what I started doing is like, I started going to CrossFit, which I used to do in high school a little bit. And I was like, I love CrossFit because it's like weightlifting and it's like a class. Like I'm not having to do things on my own, like in the gym, and it's like a sense of community. So I started going to CrossFit inconsistently, probably starting in January of 2022. And I was going on and off. Like I was not consistent with it at all. And my diet was still the same. It was still like a very unhealthy diet. And I never saw any difference in my body, even when I was going to CrossFit, because I was inconsistent and because my diet was not there. So what I ended up doing was like going inconsistently for until about like August, from January to August. And in August, I ended up going back home to Puerto Rico, and I went on a boat beach trip with my old high school friends. And I realized I had to buy a new bathing suit because none of my old bathing suits fit me. And I ordered it, and then I went and I just felt like, I honestly felt embarrassed because I felt like I was no longer the person that I used to be. And I was no longer like I was no longer confident, and I no longer looked how I was used to looking. And I hope you know, like, this is all super personal to me. Like, I'm simply sharing my story and like being open about how I felt, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not happy with the way that I looked. I just wasn't. And that was the day that changed everything for me, because I went to that like beach trip and I was so embarrassed because of how I had let myself go. And I came back to Puerto Rico and I was like, no, this is not gonna happen to me, and I'm not gonna feel this way about myself ever again. Next time I go back, I'm gonna be better. And that was the initial motivator for me wanting to like change and finally shift my life and my lifestyle. But even though the initial feeling came from a sense of embarrassment, which I don't think it's the best place to come from, to be honest, but in that moment, that's just my story and I'm just being honest. And from that moment, I started doing a whole bunch of research on YouTube, and I started watching fitness influencers. I started learning about fitness. I started reading books on nutrition. I read this book called How Not to Die by Michael Greger, who is a doctor. And this book has so much research on how the foods that you eat literally affect your health. And that book alone was all that I needed to change. Because now all of a sudden, instead of it being like, I want to lose weight because I don't like my body, it changed from that to, I want to lose weight to be healthy and live a long and healthy life. Because if not, I'm going to get all of these illnesses, all of these diseases that are preventable today. So I'm going to do that. And that is what got me on track. I started going to CrossFit every single day. And I don't know if I took rest days, to be honest, but you should take rest days. You should take 2 rest days of your week. And I started going every day, and I knew that calorie counting was something that was like beneficial and helpful to this, but at the time, like my mental health just like could not bear the idea of counting calories. So what I did instead is like I would work out twice as much in order to actually lose the weight to not have to track calories. So I started eating a lot better, and I started eating more whole foods, and I started to actually cook like real meals, not just like mac and cheese and stuff like that, or cookies or fast food. And I would get these like bags, like salad bags from Trader Joe's, and I would bring it into work and I would eat that. And I would see cookies, I would see chips all in my like office. And I was not tempted one bit, because I knew the science behind that and what that meant. To me, it meant like disease, illness, and I was like, I don't even want it. Like, I'm not even tempted, because I understood the why. I had a really strong why, because it's for my health and for my longevity. Within 2 weeks, I saw a change in my body. Other people saw changes in my body. Within 2 weeks of going to CrossFit twice a day and eating whole foods, 2 weeks was all it took to see results. And that motivated me so much, because I was like, it's literally working. And so I just like kept doing it, and I was super determined, and I saw changes in my body. I saw my like clothes were like loose. And mind you, I did not even track my weight throughout this at all, because I did not want it to be about a number on a scale. And I didn't want to be discouraged by a number on the scale. So I didn't track my weight at all. I just did what I did because I knew that I wanted to be in good health. And that is what drove me to actually do it and stick to it. And actually something that really, really helped me throughout this process was going to CrossFit with a friend. Like, this friend was super into health and fitness, and I had to give her rides in the morning to CrossFit because she didn't have, her car wasn't working. And so that held me accountable to actually get up and go every single day, to the point where, at the point where she no longer needed a ride from me, it just became second nature. It was just a habit. It was just like, of course I'm gonna wake up and go to CrossFit. That's just like part of my routine. Like, I don't even have to think about, do I wanna go? Do I not wanna go? Like, no. I literally did it because it was second nature. And when I started seeing results after 2 weeks, I was like dumbfounded, and I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this. It's working. And I kept doing it. And then eventually I transitioned from CrossFit to going to the gym, because CrossFit is kind of like, you're really prone to injury. And at the time, my boyfriend was a personal trainer. So he was the one who like pushed me to go to the gym to actually work on like specific muscle groups, because in CrossFit, they're not really focused on like targeting specific muscle groups. And if you want to look a specific way aesthetically, I think personally, my unprofessional opinion is going to the gym is better, because you can actually target specific areas of your body that you want to work on. And from then, I have been hooked to the gym. And part of what got me hooked to the gym this time versus the first time is like, I romanticized going to the gym. Like, it was like something that I saw all these other fitness influencers do, and I was like, I want to be like them. And they would like have their little pre-workout and go to the gym and have their little routine, wear their cute gym fits. And so I literally did the same. I like got pre-workout, I got really cute gym fits, and like that motivated me so much to go to the gym, because I was seeing results and I was like, I love going to the gym. And I fell in love with the process so much because it gave me an instant like dopamine hit in my mind with my mental health. It made me feel so good that the results just did not matter anymore. I did not care that I wasn't like looking like a fitness model, because to be honest, I still don't feel like I look like a fitness model. But like back then, you know, I still obviously like was overweight, but it was like a lot more progressed than where I had started. And I just loved going there because of how I felt and how it improved my mental health and how it improved my confidence. I was so much more confident because I had proved to myself that I could do something that was difficult. And I proved to myself that if I say I'm gonna do something, I actually do it and I follow through with it. And that in itself like kept me going. It's like, I wanna keep proving myself right. I wanna see what's the next thing that I could do. How can I level up even more? And I attribute my personal growth and my spiritual growth to that version of myself that started with wanting to change her health for a better life. And I'm so, so grateful to her for doing that, because I wouldn't be me today without her. And so I love her so much. I'm so grateful for her, and you just have to start. You just have to start and prioritize yourself and show love to yourself and come from a place of love, like wanting to really like give your body love by taking care of it, because if you don't have your health, it immediately and directly impacts everything else that you can do in your life. So I think that taking care of your health is the most important part of any personal growth or spiritual journey, is first taking care of your vessel. If you've made it to this point of the video, I want to personally thank you, and I want you to comment down below, I am taking care of my vessel. And with that, I will see you in the next one, and I love you so much. Bye.